Welcome to another upcycling video. As you can see, these jeans are way too long for me, so this is the method we're going to be learning today. I'm going to show you how to take up your jeans, trousers, skirts and dresses. They can all be turned up using this method, meaning your clothes will fit you perfectly. I'm going to be using a sewing machine for this tutorial, but you can definitely do this method by hand too. You'll also need a ruler or tape measure, a pair of scissors, thread and pins, and a pen to make marks for your measurements. Before you get started, you want to pop your garment on and pin where you would like the garment turned up to, so where you would like the hem to finish. This doesn't have to be loads of pins, just one single pin will do. Next, you want to lay your garment flat and measure from pin to hem. So my measurement on these jeans is 12 centimeters. Once you have this measurement, you want to take off 1.5 centimeters, so 10.5 in my case, which will be the hem of your garment that you will sew in the next step. This new measurement is what we want to mark on our garment. So, using your tape measure or ruler, measure up from the hem with this measurement, and then you just want to make a mark with your pen. So this can be a dot, a little dash, it doesn't have to be a super long line. You want to mark this measurement all the way around your garment, so continue doing this until you get back to your first mark. Once you've completed this, you want to draw a straight line, joining all of the dots or dashes up with a ruler. This will give you a really straight line and erase any outliers that aren't quite right. Finally, you want to cut along this straight line with your scissors, trying to keep as close to the drawn line as possible, because this will give you a really nice straight hem as you sew it and will make the next steps much easier. If you're doing trousers, you then want to repeat this process on the other leg to make sure that they're both even. When setting up your machine for this first step, you'll be using a zigzag stitch, so set it at a width of 5 and a stitch length of 1. You could also use an overlocker for this first step if you have one available. First, we're going to finish the raw edge to prevent it from fraying. So you want to line up your garment so that the zigzag stitch goes over the edge of your hem. Taking it slowly, sew all the way around the hem with the zigzag stitch, making sure to reverse stitch at the start and the finish to secure it. Depending on the size of your opening, it may be easier for you to place the garment around the arm of your machine, which will help you feed the garment through at an even rate. Or you can do it like I'm doing here, lay it flat on the machine and pull the hem round as you sew. Once you've finished, you want to trim off the excess threads and repeat this process on the other leg if you're doing trousers. Obviously, if you're doing a dress or a skirt, it's super easy, you're just doing one hem with the same technique. Once you've finished your raw edge, it's now time to turn up the hem. Start by measuring 1.5 centimeters up from the hem all the way around using your tape measure or ruler, in the exact same way we did to get the initial cut line. This should then take you up to the measurement you desire for your finished hem. Once you've marked on your finished hemline, you're going to fold along this line and pin it in place. So you're folding inside into the garment so that wrong side meets wrong side. I'm just going to sew this with the pins in, but you can definitely tack here if this is more comfortable for you. Now to sew up the hem. For this step you'll need a straight stitch of about 2.5, so make sure this is set up before you set off. You don't want to end up zigzagging around the outside on your hem. To sew, line up the edge of your hem with the 1 cm line of your machine and stitch all the way around, making sure again to reverse at the beginning and end to make sure that you have a locked in stitch. If you're sewing with pins in, please make sure to take it slow and remove any pins before you go over that section with the machine. You don't want to end up sewing over your pins and getting them stuck in your machine or breaking the pins or the needle. In this tutorial I'm just showing you a single turned hem, simply because this is the easiest method and it's really good for jeans so that you're not fighting with loads of bulky material through the machine or with a hand sewing needle. But you can definitely do a double turn, which would mean that you turned up your hem once and then turned it up again and pinned it in place before sewing it. I'm showing you this tutorial on a machine, but there's nothing to stop you doing the same technique by hand. To finish the edge you would use a blanket stitch, and then you would follow the same process to turn up the hem, but instead of sewing on the machine you would just simply hand stitch it using a back stitch. So once we've sewn this first line, we're going to sew another line of stitching 0.5 centimeters up from the first line. This will secure and finish the hem for you. To do this, line up the edge of your hem with the 0.5 centimeter marker on your machine and sew all the way around in the same way you've just done. This will give you a twin needle effect finish on your hem. If you're doing a light fabric, I would recommend only doing one line of stitching so that your hem isn't too bulky or sturdy. If you're doing trousers, you want to repeat that same set of steps on the other leg to make sure you have a nice even finish. And that's it. Congrats! You've turned up your very first hem and now have a perfect fitting pair of jeans or a lovely fitting dress. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to hear from you, so leave your feedback in the comments or drop me a DM.